Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the Ear League athlete here with.
Hey Dizzle.
We've got a lot to go over from the Tarkov TV live stream to some new Nikki leaks. But before we start, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, I guess the first thing we should really talk about is probably the roadmap, right?
Yeah, I think out of
There's
everything that's came out, is probably the most important.
there's a lot of information in it. You just want to start
Yeah,
at May 2025, 16.6, and just kind of work through it?
yeah. I think we should and just mention that this, along with a bunch of other things that they teased. This was a very news heavy week, so we're just going to try to go over the most important things instead of hitting everything.
Yeah, there's no
Normally
way
we would be
we could cover
scraping everything. Like
Yeah.
this week we can't really do that because there's just so much stuff. I mean, we could, but it'd be a 3-hour episode.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
that's just
yeah,
not ideal.
right.
So yeah, in May 2025, coming up very soon, we've got the lighthouse optimization. I would assume, but so the last we heard was lighthouse rework,
Correct.
and now it just says lighthouse optimization. So is the lighthouse rework coming later, or are we actually getting the rework and then some more optimization on top of that? That's one of the things, like with some of the other stuff going on later, it says specifically like expansion, this, that, or the other. But this says optimization. So are they just going to try to improve how Lighthouse in its current iteration runs?
Yeah, from what I got from, what I got from all this was the only map that it mentions expansion is interchange. So I would imagine that all this was already planned, and like that poll where they asked what map and everything and said they would start fixing Lighthouse and start like expanding it. That was just a couple months ago. So I'd say that's probably going to come after 1.0. Will
Yeah,
be my guess.
which makes sense. I would imagine
Yeah,
reworking an entire map, especially
exactly.
to what, like if they rework the entire map, that's going to take some time. If they're just moving some stuff around, that might be a little bit easier to do quickly.
Right.
But yeah, I think that after 1.0 for the lighthouse rework would be.
Yeah, it looks like they're just optimizing each and every map, and the one expansion that's actually coming is the interchange one, which I didn't know that there was an interchange expansion coming either. That kind of surprised me, but I guess they're just going to optimize everything, and then once 1.0 hits, I imagine we'll see the lighthouse expansion after that.
Well, this also says, I don't have it in the picture that I'm showing currently, but it says at the bottom of it, that this roadmap will also update and change in June,
Right.
because this, like you said a second ago, this is all stuff that they already had planned, already ready, at least for the patch side of 16.6. So we might even see, more information as to when the lighthouse rework is coming then. But on top of that, we have some customs visual improvements. Not really too sure what they're gonna do there. I think
He said
customs runs really well right now.
Nikita said what they were doing. He said whenever they optimized customs after the big update, after the expansion, he said they deleted too much stuff. He said that's why you see so many missing textures and things on customs now.
Yeah,
He said so that's all it is. He said they're just going back and putting in the extra stuff they deleted.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Some cumulative fixes, some more AI behavior adjustments, balancing changes and improvements, shoreline audio improvements. Hopefully that's pointed specifically at like resort, because that's where I think a lot of the audio issues happen anyways.
Right.
But that's cool. It's always nice to see audio improvements. Fixes to missing third person sounds of armor and helmet impacts. And then in game event. So in May, we have another event. I think it's a small event, though. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. Not like Labyrinth or anything like that.
Yeah,
Because the
I
next
don't think
big
it would be.
event isn't until later.
Yeah.
The one that was like
Yeah,
kind of hyped up.
July, the one with the cultist symbol beside it, is that one's in July, and then he also said another large one at basically transition to 1.0. So in August,
Yeah, in
there's going to
August,
be
yeah.
another big event. Basically, July,
Um,
August, there's going to be 2 back-to-back huge events.
in the Tarkov.community side for May, we've got highlighted expiring items on the insurance collection screen, which is awesome. So
Huge,
say
huge update.
you've died 5 times yesterday. Well, those items from your first death are going to expire before the items from your fifth death, right? So you're going to have a timer, probably the last 24 hours or whatever, what it looked like anyways. Whenever you hit that last 24 hours, you'll get a timer that'll pop up over top of the item, kind of like an overlay over the item. And it'll just have a timer countdown so you know what's expiring when and what to try to get in your stash. Another one is actually all the next three of these are all really big. Auto restart for failed tasks, ability to buy all items
Yes.
needed for craft recipe, and activation of
Yes.
map transition by holding a keybind. That one, not so
Yes.
much like a big thing, but pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I'm not too worried about that,
It's
but yeah, the
handy
first
enough,
two definitely.
Yeah, auto restart for failed tasks. When I was doing I still have to do relentless. What was the other one I did? Escort, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, escort,
the
yeah.
amount of times I had, because where I was doing a transition only, I would die. I would get my kit and everything together because transition, you're in there for a long time, so you're not really. It's a lot to get everything prepped, and then I would just go do my raid, and I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot to restart, so now I got to leave ground zero, go back to my stat,
Right.
So auto restarting failed tasks is awesome. That one's huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then ability to just go into your hideout, go to your crafting or your weight workbench, click you want to build, want to make 7.62 BP ammo, and just purchase everything on the spot.
Right.
I can't believe it took this long to get that feature in the game. It's something that's been
Yeah.
needed for a very long time, but the fact that it's here now, wow, will be here soon, is just
Yeah.
huge.
The fact that it's here before 1.0, which is, I think, it gives me some confidence that a lot of these little things that we've been wanting for so long, they've had, you know what I mean? Like, they've known about them and they've had them on the, table to get fixed. It's
Right.
just a lot of that stuff they were just putting off, like, that can wait till 1.0. But it gives
Well, we
me
also had to wait
just,
for the Unity 22 engine to update, right? We
yeah,
had to wait
yeah.
for that so they could go back
And
and
they
do a
said
lot of it
that
too.
they said once
Yeah.
we get Unity 22, that's gonna let us update a lot more stuff a lot faster, and they're sticking to their word. Like
Yeah,
that's
they've been
exactly
killing it
what
on
we're seeing.
optimization and
Yeah, but I think
fixes.
the best thing is once 1.0 hits, now I feel like we're going to just have so much quality of life improvements with it. It's just going to be so much better. Things that we've dealt with for years just seem like they're just getting fixed every update.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see.
Yeah.
Moving into June, we've got reserve optimization, which personally I don't have a lot of issue running reserve.
No,
I
no,
guess it
reserve runs
doesn't
pretty damn good.
hurt to optimize everything, right? Especially for lower NPCs. I know a lot of
Well,
the updating or optimization for those things are geared towards lower NPCs.
what Nikita said was because someone had asked him, they said, because when they had mentioned, it might have been reserve, that they had mentioned someone in the chat had said, like reserve runs pretty well. Why are you focusing on that? And he said, just to, let everybody know, he said, we're going back and doing every map. He said, what we're doing is before 1.0, we're optimizing every map to the best
Getting
that
everything
we
cleaned
can.
up, yeah.
Yeah, just
Just
anything
making
that
sure
doesn't
it
need to
all
be
runs.
there, anything that has been just left in there from past updates for things we've experimented with. We're just going through and clearing all that up and making it run better. It's not that it needed it; it's that we're doing it to everything. So,
Right. Yeah, and
which makes
an
sense.
optimization of the entire game, maps, all the features, everything, like,
Yeah,
that's pretty crucial, especially with
yeah,
1.0 so close.
right.
More cumulative fixes, more AI behavior adjustments, balancing changes and improvements. The summer weather season, I do want to touch on with the summer weather season is when the new big lore event is coming out. So in June, like Adam was saying a second ago, we have the big event happening then. And then we have audio engine improvements, obstacle processing algorithm
Wait a
improvements for
minute.
better audio occlusion performance. Wait a minute on what?
Isn't the updates, the events in July and August?
No. I got a clip of him. He says, with the summer season change, we got a new big lore event.
Oh, okay. Not an in-game event. It's like a lore event.
Yeah, I don't know to what degree, but a lore event,
I was
a
gonna say,
new
yeah,
big lore event were his exact words
the in-game
with
events were
summer
marked
weather
down
season.
as
Right.
July and August. Okay.
Yeah. So with the weather season, when we go to summer weather, some kind of lore drop, something big game related lore wise. He did not specify. He literally, I have it in parentheses or in quotations. It's new big lore event with summer season.
Okay.
I don't. Uh, I have the clip if we wanted to play it. Probably not. I don't think it's really worth it. But yeah, so whatever new big lore event is, I was kind of thinking it would be maybe more Rizzy stuff with more leaks and just looks at stuff. I don't know. It's hard to tell. With BSG,
Probably.
you really can't ever tell for sure.
Probably something hinting at, like 1.0, probably something hinting towards like, what's going to happen with the storyline, I would say.
That's kind of what I was figuring. Like something to do with Terminal 1.0 story
Yeah.
progression.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then audio engine improvements and obstacle processing algorithm improvements for better audio occlusion performance. So that would
Yeah,
be
and they
like,
showed a clip of that.
yeah,
That
that
was
we will
awesome.
have showing.
Yeah.
In fact, I can go ahead and just play that now. He said sarcastically because he can't find it. Audio rework.
I gotta say, you gotta like Nikita's fit too.
Yeah, dude, throwing up the Bulls.
He got the Bulls freaking hat and the D Rose freaking vest on.
Hero's
What?
vest, bro. He's got a vest on.
Yeah, like why would he wear a Derrick Rose vest? That had me so shocked. All
So
right,
here's
yeah,
the
here
clip.
it is.
So essentially, as you progress further away from the person talking or making noise, and as you go behind obstacles, the levels of the audio will change, kind of realistically to how it should, depending on the obstacle and what it is, and the distance and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, he was
But
just saying they improved the occlusion, like object occlusion, basically what's working before, but not like they wanted. And now he said basically they've times it by 2. Everything should be way more
there we go.
real, or the realism should be noticeable now. Like you should actually hear someone's voice fade as soon as they hit like a corner or a wall, or you know what I mean. Like it should just be noticeable. It was always there, but now it should be better.
Yeah.
Well, not now, but with this update, it should be better.
Yeah, come June update, we'll see.
Yeah. Update 16.7.
And that'll be nice, and more than just hearing voice lines. Hearing grenade
Right.
pins be pulled, all that kind of stuff. Any kind of movement or game sound, you're going to be able to pick up where it's coming from, get a little bit better idea of like if they're around corner or what it is they got going
Right.
on. Not just like, oh, well, we know for a fact they're over here. We're going to have a little more information
It
given
would have
to
been
us just
nice.
based off the sound.
It would have been nice to see a clip of like some vertical audio, because that seems to be the one that's caused the most trouble. But
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get a clip of that sometime soon, showing us what it's going to be like.
Yeah, I was really hoping with the shoreline audio improvements that's working on vertical, because that's what makes the most sense to me in my simple mind, right? Um, because on shoreline audio is great until you're in resort, and then it's a lot of verticality issues, right?
Yeah, but the only thing that's weird about that is they specify shoreline. You know what I
Shoreline
mean? So it's
audio,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's like the vertical audio needs fixed on every
And they
map. So
didn't
hopefully,
say like this, they specifically say obstacle processing algorithm improvements for better audio occlusion performance. And then just above that, audio engine improvements, shoreline audio improvements. So it's like it's not too indicative of like vertical audio or specific types of audio fixing and this, that, and the other. So it could be just very, we tweak the sounds and the way this is and little things.
right?
But yeah, that's a good fix, the obstacle processing algorithm. And then from Tarkov.community, the updates coming from that, we've got warning before starting a raid with a task item in inventory. We got to see that in the Tarkov TV.
Yeah, pretty cool actually. It tells you what mission exactly, what item, and what mission you have on you. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, they went further than I expected them to. I thought we'd
Yeah,
just get
instead
like
of
a
just
little
like a
warning in the
screen that
corner.
pops up. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it tells you everything. It even went a little more in depth than I thought it would. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking
It
specifically
did.
like the task items that you can transfer in your task tab, not you have this, you have an Iskra that you need for this task, right? Like things
Right.
like it. It definitely just went above and beyond what I was expecting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
Stash auto sort improvements, ability to check
Yeah.
in-game time and raid.
That's big.
Wait, that is big. Instead of
Yeah.
having, because I've told people like, oh, just check your watch on your wrist. But one, not every watch is visible. Not every
Right.
clothing option wears a watch. And
Right.
not every watch is accurate, I think.
Yeah, I think some of them are just like wrong, because I've seen some weird shit.
Yeah. One of the outfits or shirts that I wear frequently has the wristwatch on, and it's on the inside of my wrist, and I can look down, and it seems to be accurate with raid timer.
Right.
But that's like one out of what, 20, So it's like,
Right.
is it actually meant to be that way, or did that just happen to work out?
Yeah, because I've definitely seen pictures people have taken showing like a watch saying like night, and then they're standing like in like sunshine daytime. You
Right
know
in the
what I
middle
mean?
of the
Like
day.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely something that's off somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
just something that I'm surprised has taken this long to be implemented, as important as it is.
That is a pretty important one, especially when you go in at like dawn and dusk and you're like, well, do I need to bring a flashlight or do I need to bring night vision? And it's like being able to know, which I guess that's set up. So you already know what you're doing when you get in, but there, I don't know. Is
Yeah,
it a
it's for
big
being
deal?
in raid. Yeah, it's for being in raid, and say you have to have a
Well, there are
mission
task specific things,
done
right?
by
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
22. Yeah, and
Right.
you don't know exactly what time it is. You're like, oh, is it 21:30? Should I start this or should I
Right.
do I
That's
have to
true.
wait? Now you know. Yeah, this is for
Yeah.
specific timed things, and also for the transitions now, because now you transition from map to map to map and you have no idea what time it is. Now you can see what time it is. Like it used to be, you didn't have to worry about that because anytime you went to a different map, you did it through the launcher. You did it through the normal game
Right. You'd
screen where
go
you would
out,
go
you'd
out,
choose, you'd see
you
your
could see the
time.
time.
Right.
Yeah. Now you don't, and it's like, so just having that alone,
That's true because
there
there's
were ways
times.
around it.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
there was the Tarkov world clock you could just go to, and it
Yeah.
would always show, like, it was a website, always had the time on there. But
In
this
game is
should be
always
something you
better.
could check in game.
Yeah.
Yes, this
Yeah.
should be something you should check. You should be able to check in game.
And not every player
So
knows about the world clock. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah, yeah, that's something you have to look for specifically. So yeah, this is just a much needed fix, much needed addition that is not probably as obvious to some people as it is to us about how good it is, but it's just something that is going to help solve some problems that'll happen later on in your Tarkov run.
Well, and there's
You're not going to
times
have to
like
worry about time things.
yeah, exactly. And like you mentioned with transition, I didn't really think about it before, but it is kind of nice to know as I'm heading from map to map what time I'm moving into.
Yeah,
Um, because if I'm going interchange at night, not really a big deal. Shoreline at night, and I don't have the setup for it. Like there are
right.
reasons to want to know the time. And when you're doing transition only stuff, you're just spending all your time doing raid after raid, doing transition for whatever reason. It definitely affects your map choice.
Right. Or even if you're on your scab, it's really dark. You scab in, and
True.
you're like, shit, I didn't mean to
I didn't know it was
come in this
nighttime.
late.
Right.
Yeah, and then you're like, well, it's 4:50. Oh, okay. Well, I only have to wait an hour, and then it'll be daylight. So it's like
Right.
it just helps with those
Very
things. You
crucial
know what I mean?
reasons. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Ability check. Okay, and then reduced flashlight glare when wearing glasses. I never wear glasses, so I hadn't noticed that, but that's good.
Right.
Auto purchase of missing currency when buying items. This one makes
Yeah.
me so fucking happy. I have
Another
waited for
big
this
one.
for years. Dude, that's crazy. The amount of times that I go to purchase a gun, it's usually gun builds because whatever. I go to buy my gun parts. And it's like, oh, you don't have the cash for this. And it's like, what? Oh fuck, I'm missing USD. If it would just say, hey, we're pulling 600,000 rubles to buy your 5K fucking
Yeah. Auto
USD.
convert that shit.
Cool, sweet, thanks. Like I'm all for that. That's great. Yeah, that's huge. Task sorting improvements. You'll also be able to lock
Pin.
uh
Yeah.
or pin tasks that you want. Like say you're working on shooterborn and you're tired of scrolling down to check it, scrolling down to check it. You just pin it to the top, and then every time you go to your task tab. What I would like to see though, and this might be too far in the wrong direction, is like an in raid way of checking my task progress, like a write in the rain notepad that just says like shooterborn X out of X. Like if it's a pin
Oh,
task, I
okay. I
can
see what
see
you're
it.
saying.
You know what I mean? Like if I pin shooterborn, Punisher 5, and I don't know, fucking how many pins are in my pocket. I would just like to be able to like when I check my watch, maybe I get to see like shooterborn 5 out of 10, or whatever. Like
Right.
that might be too far
Like,
though.
yeah, I
Just
think that's too far because
yeah,
you could even say like you carry around like a tablet or a device with everything on it, and BSG would be like, yeah, that's what you're looking
that's
at
your
when you
fucking
tab
menu,
out.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, when you
yeah,
tab out, that's what you're doing. You're looking at your shit. You know what
right.
I mean? So,
For me, it would
but
just
I
be
get it.
being
Yeah,
able to still
it'd be
see
nice to do
everything
in
in raid
raid.
around me and
Yeah,
hear, you know what
yeah,
I mean? But again, I think that's too far in the wrong direction. And it's not a Tarkov thing. Stalker, I could see doing that. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Any
Stalker
kind
does
of
it that
single
way. Yeah, you
player
just look at
immersive
your
story
PDA.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, easy. With Tarkov, it makes sense, but yeah, I just think that would be a cool little.
it would be cool.
Um, but again, it's wrong direction.
Right.
Highlighted attachments available from traders when building a weapon. I don't know how I feel about that personally. It comes back to you kind of have to figure these things out when you're building a gun. Nobody holds your hand to tell you what goes where, right? Um, but like if I click on the M4 and I go to build it, I don't know. I guess it depends on how they do it, and maybe it's something I can opt into. But I like the idea of like having to scroll and find the muzzle device and then having to find the suppressor for that device, right?
Well, and that's the thing. You still have to. It's only going to when you have a gun. At least this is what I figure. When you have a gun on you and you go to a trader, it's just going to show you stuff for that gun.
It says
So when you
when
go to build a
building a
gun,
weapon, though.
well, when you build a weapon though, you don't see the traders. So that's what I don't understand. I don't.
Highlighted
When you're
attachments
building a weapon,
available
you
from
don't see
traders
the
when building
traders.
a weapon.
I think it means when building it like in your
Are they
stash. I
gonna
think it means when
offer
you're
a new menu? Yeah, like if you strip the parts off the gun in your stash, even then though, because like a lot of people strip their guns down to put them in their weapon crates and stuff.
right.
So I don't really get that one.
Well, like I said, the only thing I can figure is you would have to like go to a trader and have like click on the gun that you're building, like highlight it, and then
Yeah.
maybe it'll just like that's the only thing I can figure. I don't think it's going to be as in depth or as like
Yeah,
game
probably
changing
not.
as it sounds. I
Yeah,
think it's
you'll
just going to be something to this will fit this gun. It'll highlight it when you're there. Otherwise,
yeah.
you know what I mean, it's going to be pretty useless.
Yeah, and like you said, you're probably gonna have to pin that that's the gun you're working on.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I mean, and we both could be completely wrong. They could have made
Yeah,
something
who knows, right?
completely new. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they didn't go in depth about that. At least I didn't see anything in depth
I haven't
about
heard
that.
anything else about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Anyways, we'll move on. It's an interesting thing. It might work out real well for new players potentially. I don't think it'll change how you or I or the average player builds guns though.
right,
At least I'm hoping not. I hope they didn't switch things up drastically in some weird way.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that. July
Um,
2025, patch 16.8. We've got shoreline optimization, ground zero optimization, more cumulative fixes, third person gunshot sounds rework, and in game event. Now, shoreline optimization, ground zero. Okay, shoreline, I'm sure it's more of similar to like customs and reserve. They're just kind of fixing things and adding things back, this, that, or the other. Ground zero, holy shit, for as small as that map is, it could run so much better. The more I've been running it, being on that map for like transition stuff and doing escort and whatever else, it runs okay. But I've noticed that as
as
small as the map is, my frames aren't that great.
really, I was gonna say I
Yeah, I'm
get
usually
great
around
frames
like
on Ground
90
Zero.
to 110 FPS on ground zero.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Now there are certain areas like right into the middle where all the shit's going down. Like yeah, every now and then I'll dip down, but it's like most of the time I'm damn near 200 FPS on Ground Zero.
In the middle, in the food place, like the restaurant,
Uh huh.
and then over in the scientist building, that might be it. Those are the areas that I notice it the most.
Hmm.
It also depends, like, sometimes there's just a lot going on in the area, so that could be part of
Yeah,
it, but, yeah, I
yeah. You
don't
got a
get
bunch of
great
shit
frames
packed into a
on
small
ground
area.
zero. Like, not what I
Um,
used to get. Usually, it's set around, like, 130 to 160, somewhere in that
I was gonna
range.
say, yeah, it was always one of my better maps for frames, but I really haven't paid much attention. I'll have to go
The
back
only
and really
reason I
look.
noticed was because I'd been on there so much recently.
Right.
And it's not the entire map. The entire map is the majority of the map is okay. It is specifically those few areas, but those are
Right,
decent chunks of the map that you travel through.
right.
Yeah, and then third person gunshot sounds rework. I assume that's like,
Just the way gunshots are gonna sound to
yeah,
you, what you're gonna hear.
right. Not necessarily our guns, but what's going on around us, I would
Right.
assume.
Yeah. Basically, what you're gonna hear if there's PMCs or scavs shooting, and what you hear from that.
Yeah, suppressed, unsuppressed, ranges and all that.
Right.
And
Which
then
we
we
already seen
have
them doing that. We seen
yeah,
them testing that, and they were doing that short video they posted showing like all the headphones and all the guns with suppressors and then unsuppressed, and so we kind of
yeah,
got a
different
sneak peek
ranges.
of
Yeah,
that.
it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
But the big thing
also
here,
yeah, the
yeah,
big one is that cultist in-game event.
yes. And
Do we
I'm just
have any
throwing this out
information on
there.
that?
Well, from what Nakia did say on that, he said in July there was a big event But then also in August, there was a big event. And he said both events are leading to 1.0.
Yeah.
Both of them are
Story
events
driven.
that, yeah, they are something that, and this is where the PvE thing came into play, because everyone's like, well, if your PvE character, is already at the very end of the task lines and everything, PvE is going to be able to just jump into the end game because they're not going to be wiped. And that's when Nikita said, well, no, PvE is not going to get these things unless they opt into wiping. You're going to have to wipe your character because otherwise it's just not fair for everybody to wipe.
We would get
but
to see
PvE
everything
players
ahead
get to
of
go
time.
experience end game before everyone else. Basically, if you don't wipe your PvE character, you're going to be fine.
Stuck
Like
with
you can keep doing what you're doing, but you just don't get the end game events. I assume this is what he's talking about because he kept referring to events.
100%.
Yeah. So, basically, you're going to have to wipe your character if you want to progress through the new, 1.0 storyline.
Yeah, if you don't
which
wipe
makes sense.
your progress, your in-game ends at the end of the Lightkeeper current task line.
Yeah.
If and when you do wipe, you get to progress past that. You get to go to terminal, see the new terminal tasking and all that, and then you'll also, which that'll be later. That'll be 1.0. Isn't that what you were saying? Was
Right.
with 1.0, that's when the wipe happens?
I wasn't sure
For
what he meant because
PvE.
I thought he was saying that for these events. I thought he was saying to be able to, because these are the
Actually,
events
you know
that are
what?
going to lead to
I
1.0.
can tell you what he said. We have it clipped.
Yeah.
Release date.
But see, I don't know. You would imagine there's going to be at least one more wipe before 1.0, I would guess.
Wipe, sure, конечно, да, обязательно.
Okay, let's see.
The wipe will be on the release. There will be wipe.
И арена в том числе.
I don't know.
Wipe will be on
release.
release.
Maybe Arena 2.
Maybe
and
Arena
also,
2.
There's a high chance that
There's a
PvE
quite high chance PvE
will also be wiped, but not forced wipe. It will be said like, if we want to experience the final missions, the end game content, you will need to apply the wipe for your account, for your profile. Otherwise, you can continue playing with your progression, but you won't be able to start the final missions. It is being done for the sake of, I don't know, not spoiling the whole concept of the end game missions. Готов?
Yeah.
Let's switch back.
Okay, so it's just the final missions.
Yeah, it's just specifically for 1.0.
It's not these
but
events. Yeah.
So everyone will get access to the events, and then when 1.0 gets here, if you want to experience anything past the current Lightkeeper mission set, you will have to wipe to get all the new tasks, see the end game, and I assume that means make your way to terminal. So I don't see why anyone on PvE wouldn't wipe. It seems kind of weird to not want to finish Escape from Tarkov, like to actually escape, right? Or at least have whatever it is they set up for escaping. I don't know
if you think about it though, that's going to be hard for a lot of people that have so many hours and level 70 plus people. It's like
I don't know.
It's gonna be hard. Like I'm gonna do it easily. You know what I mean? I've been
I have no
it.
question in my mind.
But I could just see them being some people that just don't. Some people
what
who
the
don't
fuck?
care
Why
about
can't
the
I
end
keep
game.
my progress?
Yeah, they just want to keep playing with the good stuff that they have. You know what I mean? Like,
but you're gonna miss out on so much. I guess if you don't care about the story and you're literally playing Tarkov just for Tarkov, but the fact that it's locking you out of a map is what I think is going to drive a lot of players to do
less.
Because the new terminal map, once we get to talking about that, looks awesome. I don't know if you saw the reveal for it, but it looks so good.
Yeah, I did. But what I was going to say is I'm really excited about this in-game event, and then obviously in August the large-scale in-game event. But it's just curious to me how they put a cultist symbol beside the one in July in patch
it's the only
patch
one
16.8. But then the one in August is listed as large-scale. But on the Tarkov release, with the picture that they show, it has the cultist symbol in 2025, and then it has the hovercraft in the background. If you look, it's a picture of the hovercraft. So obviously, in my mind, there's going to be something with cultists, the new map, and the large scale event. I think
You
all of it's
know, with the in-game event with the cultist symbol next to it,
yeah.
and this just kind of hit me in the face. I may be wrong. I could be very wrong. I didn't really put together the cultist symbol, the 2025 release version 1. Like that right side picture. I hadn't really put it all together. What if they let us tease terminal with some kind of cultist event? Like let us go into that first layer, right? Because it's like if they're making it the terminal from the movie and stuff, it'll be like you enter through that big front gate, and then there's kind of another section that you kind of have to like a checkpoint, and then on past that. Granted, we don't have any idea how the terminal map lays out. But
I
what
was gonna
if they
say
allowed us to kind of make our way into the entry point of terminal and have to fight with a bunch of cultists and do a bunch of shit to kind of start to expose, open, and kind of reveal some information to us a little bit? I mean, that could be completely off basis.
no,
But
but
kind of looking at the
it's
picture over here, it kind of feels maybe could be something.
it's I if I remember correctly, when they first teased Terminal, like actually showed gameplay, they showed a wall being knocked down by a crane,
Yeah,
um, and people fighting, and basically they showed mortars and all kinds of stuff going on, and basically people were going in through that knocked down wall that the
yeah,
crane knocked down. So I just assumed that was going to be the way we enter. You know what I mean? Because that was what they were
right.
showing being knocked down. I don't know, but the other thing is, I feel like they're going to implement something with the nuke. The nuke. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
they did
where
let
they're
us
going to
down into
put
the
it.
nuke room.
Yeah,
It was a
like
big focal point of the event, of the labyrinth event.
yeah, and I feel like that's got something to do with the cultists, the underground network, the the scavs having mortars, and just
Well, if you
stuff that's
follow
been
lore, the scavs receive things essentially by helping certain people, right?
right.
So
Yeah, it's
it
stuff that's been
fits. It definitely
exchanged.
fits. Yeah,
Yeah, it's stuff that people have been moving underground, like without anyone noticing, because they have these underground networks where they've been doing this shit. And it's like, I feel like that's kind of where the cultists come in. And then
probably.
that's, I think, the end game event in July. And then August, I think the large scale is obviously opening up terminal somehow.
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
but yeah, that's why I was
Yeah, we
confused because I was
know
like,
the cultists are
how
tied to
can
terror group.
PVE? But how can PVE if we're going to terminals? How can we be in these? I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know how they're going to pull this all together.
There's a lot of dots that have the red line drawn to them, but they're not connecting anywhere else, right? It's
Right.
like, well, there's
Right.
something there. There's something
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but we don't know
Yeah.
what, how,
They got to
when,
pull this shit
why.
together somehow. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm
and
curious
like
to
I
see what
have
they do.
no doubt that they've got the story completely fleshed out.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It's done. Probably been done for a while. Like it's just cool seeing it all come together. And
it
what's
is.
crazy is much information as they put out, we still don't 100% know. Is what's cool. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, the
listen to
fact that
us sitting
there's
here guessing.
still speculation involved
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
something
We're
so
just
close
throwing
to
shit
the
out.
quote unquote full release, right? It's like we're so close, but yet there's
Yeah.
still so much information to learn. There's still so many dots to connect. There's
Yeah.
just a million and one questions. And hopefully, I imagine throughout the next few years with DLCs and everything else, we get all those answers. And I think it's kind of cool also to think like in a couple years time we could come back and watch these and see what was right, what was wrong, were we on basis, were we completely out in left field, like it's just another little cool way that BSG has helped keep the community interacting and involved in the whole story and everything, and
Right.
kind of just trying to like piece it together. They've done a really good job giving us just enough of a taste to make us want more and more, while keeping the main story and like the main plot points hidden from us for so long. I mean, 9 years running, and like we don't
Yeah.
actually know exactly what's happening. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, they've done a good job. They've made it to where this point in time is actually doable now because like we're still not sure what's going to happen. Otherwise, if we already knew everything, no one would really care. But the fact that
Right.
that none of us really know, it makes this more exciting. It makes it more of an actual like event, more of
Yeah.
just something that we're participating in instead of just watching.
I mean, we're literally sitting here speculating off of a roadmap because of a symbol.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
crazy that something but there's a reason for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
they
and to be
always do
honest,
these.
I didn't even notice the hovercraft there
in the
until I
image.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, until I started looking at it right now. I was like, oh, they have a hovercraft right there.
I saw release version 1.0, the Escape from Tarkov. I saw 2025. I didn't even notice the cultist symbol.
Yeah,
And maybe I did, right? Like subconsciously notice it, just didn't really put it together.
right.
So yeah, that and they wouldn't have put the in-game event with the cultist symbol and then the 2025 with the cultist symbol. You know, like it feels like they're kind of trying to tease something about the terminal and cultist maybe. Because I was thinking too, I watched the raid movie a few nights back. I was bored. And those blacked out units that come in after the scavs assault the base, assault terminal.
Yeah, Black
What if
Division,
those
right?
are the cultist bosses? Well, yeah, but that was my thought too. It was like it's Black Division, and that's the like the Russian thing, right?
Right, but you mean what are they actually? Yeah, okay, yeah,
What
that
are
makes
they
sense.
actually? Yeah,
Yeah,
is my thought because I was just thinking like the cultist bosses kind of wore more kits similar to
yeah,
that. Like they had their
yeah,
cultist robes on, but they were kind of kitted a little heavier.
yeah.
And
They
it could be
definitely
completely
were.
wrong, but at the same time, it's like somebody coordinates all these things to happen too. Somebody coordinated the scavs, the black unit, what are they?
Black Division.
Black Division. Like somebody's coordinated, or some people have coordinated all these things to happen. And through lore, cultists actually have a lot of pull, and they
Yeah,
are well known and very well tied in with a lot of the upper echelon of like captains and terror groups and sergeants and this, that, and the other. Like, so like
yeah.
they're
They're
very
way
involved in
more
everything going on
involved.
in Tarkov. Yeah,
Yeah, way more involved in the story than they are in the actual game. Like you barely ever
yeah,
see them in the game, but in the actual story, the lore, they're way more involved.
yeah. They
Everybody's
are
tied to the cultists in some way.
USEC, UN peacekeepers, terror group,
Lightkeeper.
scavs, lightkeeper, rogues,
Yeah.
raiders. Even I wouldn't be surprised. Bosses. I know for a fact a couple of the bosses are tied with
Yeah,
cultists.
Zerachi obviously, but
Yeah,
even Partisan had some kind of thing where he was like fighting with him and then started like dealing with
working
him
with
and
them.
like yeah, it was like
It
so
makes me think Partisan's Dennis. I'm just gonna put that out there now. I think the main character from the book is Partisan because he knows everything. He moves like a cultist. He's better than a cultist, right? Like that's how this book describes Dennis.
yeah,
Is
it could be
at the end of it
yeah.
is he knows everything. He knows his way from map to map to map because of the tunnels. He
Right.
knows how to get from here to here. He knows the cultists and how they move. He moves better than a cultist, quieter than a
Yeah,
cultist.
he's
Like
a
there's like so many
survivor.
things
He
that
has
just
no
fucking
footsteps. Like he
yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It really
I've
does.
just I could be wrong. We could be Dennis, I guess, but it really seems to me that Partisan and Dennis go hand in hand together. He's an older
But
fella at this point. Like he's been through some shit. He's grizzled, you know. Like, but again, it could be wrong. Could be
But
completely
as
wrong.
we were saying, the fact that there's this many possibilities still there, that's what's awesome is they've
Yeah, yeah,
left enough or they've kept enough from us to where we still don't know exactly what's going to happen or there's a lot of stuff we don't know, you know? So it's like this is exciting to finally get to see, you know, where this is all
Well, and
going.
to think what may be answered and what may not be answered still. Like just because 1.0 comes
Right,
out,
because obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff that's not. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff
yeah,
that's still not
yeah,
answered. Because the
yeah.
game's not ending; it's beginning. You know, that's the
Right. Yeah,
crazy
this
thing.
is just the full release. This is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
start
This
of
is
Tarkov.
the real beginning. You know what I mean? So it's like
That's crazy to think, dude.
yeah, yeah. It is. It
That
really
fucked my
is.
brain up.
Yeah. When I said it, I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, it's
9 years
crazy.
later, yeah, it's the start of Tarkov.
Oh
It's
shit.
weird, but it's true. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's awesome though. Like it's awesome that we're finally here. Um, yeah.
Dude,
So
people are so crazy. I just got to point this out real quick. This one guy comments, "How do you go from 0.16.90 to 1.0?" Like that's some kind of own, you know? Like,
the
oh
natural progression should be 0.20. You fuck. We still have a lot of patches before we're at 1.0. All right, you got a lot to do. Jesus, people. Yeah, so the next big leak that I have, I don't know if anybody else has heard this yet. I'm pretty tied in with BSG. I try to keep that quiet. Tarkov is coming to Steam, but big news first and foremost, Tarkov's going to be on Game Boy first. So I don't know if they're going to put it on Collar or if that's going to come later, but Tarkov on
I
Game
say
Boy.
OG Game Boy.
Yeah, yeah, and then Tarkov on Game Boy Collar, and then Tarkov on Steam at some point. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get your Game Boys out, fresh batteries, get your lights, get ready. Keybinds have all been sorted, they said. They got that all figured out. So that's good. Yeah. No, they did
That
make a
was
joke
funny that he
though.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, Steam, yes, it's coming to Steam, Arena on Steam, all of it on Steam. But first, Tarkov on Game Boy.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. And Game Boy.
so the next
But
thing
yeah,
I want to show.
just to
Go
clear
ahead.
that up real quick, Tarkov is coming to Steam. It is coming to Steam, but it's going to be later. Arena is also coming to Steam, but it's going to be later. Basically, Epic has the rights to everything. They've made a deal with Battlestate to get first dibs on the outside release of Escape from Tarkov and Escape from Tarkov Arena. So what we're going to see is it release like Arena did. We're going to see Arena also hit Steam probably a year from now, and then I think EFT will follow in the same path, like right behind that after that happens.
Yeah.
But just for everyone asks, because everyone always asks that. Everyone always acts like that's not information that you can get. It's been out there for a while. They put it out a long time ago. That's what the plan is. I don't see it changing. It is coming to Steam.
I don't see why it would change.
Yeah, like Nikita's been saying this for a while, but like I said, for whatever reason, that's the one
People
thing
still
I
freak
still
out about
see.
it.
Yeah, I still see it everywhere. I still see people everywhere like, well, they've never said that it's coming. It's like, yes, they have. They've said it a million times.
They have multiple times. But there's also,
Yes.
you got to think how many of those people just tune in for the Tarkov TV, spamming the same shit that's already been
That's
answered on
true. That's
Twitter
true.
or Tarkov.community or one of the other many outlets we have now. A lot of people just don't care to take the time to research things, I think.
Right.
But there's also trolls. Like, dude, there's
But he made
the
it-
chat on the
he-
Tarkov TV is
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it is.
It's so funny.
Well, even
sometimes.
in this, because again, it's just like on the roadmap Twitter post, like just the things people say, and just to throw one more out there, I can't help it. This guy says, again, you advertise the current patch with a video featuring a guy holding an RPG. Wipe is well on its way to be over. Still no RPG. Y'all lie about literally everything. What the fuck does that even mean?
When did they say the RPG would be here this patch?
I have not seen anything indicating an RPG.
We did
They
the task
showed a
line to
clip.
kind of introduce parts of it.
They showed a clip.
I always thought Nikita said it would be with release. I thought that was a full release thing.
Nikita showed a clip of a guy holding an RPG on not this recent Tarkov TV, but the one before that. When the wipe came, he showed a guy holding an RPG. That was it. It was just a clip. It wasn't anything
Right.
advertises this is coming. This guy remembered that and has been stuck in this guy's head. He's convinced himself that that was the advertising video for the recent patch. And that it didn't come this wipe like they said it would. He's somehow convinced
Just
himself
goes
of
to
all that.
show so many people just stick to their fucking bread and butter, that one thing they saw, right? Like,
And
I
he
saw it
felt so
once.
confident about it to hop in
To
this
bring it
and
up and
accuse them
harass.
of
Yeah.
lying and tell them
Yeah.
they lie about everything. And it's
People
dude,
people just love to do this shit too, though.
I
Like, I
just
think a
don't
lot of
get it,
that's
man.
just like haters, right? Like people trying to
But it's-
start a hate train.
But it's like this guy has a legitimate thing that he's focused on, something that he's really wanting. He's wanting that RPG, and he's so mad about that he's just going to accuse them of lying about everything. And it's just like, how can you win when that's the stuff people say you lie about when they never made a claim about any of that?
Right.
It's just,
yeah.
it drives me crazy because I'm like,
Ah.
literally, all you have to do is pay attention. Like,
Yeah.
it's not hard.
A quick Google search will tell you everything you need to know too on that front.
I just don't understand the mindset of someone. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, I don't either. It blows
Yeah.
my mind.
I'm going to
It's actually gotten to the
now.
point. It's actually yeah, exactly. It's actually gotten to the point. I used to giggle and laugh and like look at this idiot, you know. I don't even read comments now,
Yeah,
dude. I
it's
don't.
not
I
worth
don't
it.
go on Twitter and read the comments. I don't go
Not
through
worth
the
it.
fucking like. I just can't. It's so
Yeah.
fucking toxic and just annoying. It's like people use your fucking brains. It
Yeah.
really makes you kind of lose faith in humanity a little bit.
It does.
And like,
it
sure, we're
does.
talking about Tarkov, but it's not just Tarkov.
Oh yeah, it's not just Tarkov. No,
everywhere.
No.
It's
everything.
everywhere. People are just
Everything.
fucking ignorant.
It is
Like, sure,
everything.
those of you that go out and do your research and say, "Oh, I heard this one time. Let me just see if it's real."
Yeah, that's
Hats
dope.
off to you. You guys do
Yeah.
more than most. Like, you're awesome. Keep it up. Think for yourself. Always think for yourself, and always do your research.
Yes,
That's what I've
social
come up
media
with.
is fucking crazy.
It is, dude. It's nuts. The next thing I want to show though is something pretty cool that they revealed. We knew it was coming. We've seen bits and pieces of it, but now we actually get to see it in game. And that's the lever action rifles.
Yes.
I got the clip
It
pulled
even
up
showed
here.
I can't remember the model.
Playing
Is
it
it the
now.
Marlin? Yeah, it's the Marlin.
Yeah, it's the Marlin. Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah,
How many of us grew up shooting that thing? You know.
which is the BB Marlin.
Yep. Looks like
Looks to be-
7.62.
I was gonna say it looks to be 308. Yeah.
Yeah. The 1895 MXLR Marlin. It's so clean. It sounds so good. I'm gonna play that one more time because I just genuinely love it. And obviously, it's got the setup for a Picatinny rail, so you can scope mount. I'd say you can change out the polymer stocks on it, the polymer
Yeah, it's
handguard, things
very
like that. It's
customizable,
pretty
yeah.
customizable. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of surprising how much you can do to these lever actions. And then the hip fire, just fast shooting, right? Like cowboy action. Yeah.
And just to put this out there, it has its own cartridge, which is the 450 Marlin cartridge.
Right. I hope they actually introduce that.
Yeah, so I was gonna say either they're, from what I'm reading, it's like basically that's equivalent to the 4570 cartridge, which is what a lot of
Yeah.
lever actions use is the 4570.
Right.
But it looked like, it looked like 308. They could just be using that for now, just for as a placement,
A
what I mean? Like,
placeholder, it could.
yeah, just
It didn't.
until they get it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's different
Um,
variants of this gun too. You said this was the Marlin 1895 MXLR?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's
that
definitely
is the-
different versions of it.
There's a
but
lot.
the only versions I
Well,
can
not a lot,
find
but a
is
few.
yeah, I was gonna say the only versions I can find are the 450 Marlin version and the 4570 version. So hopefully it's one of those two.
I
Which
would
will
like to
basically
see him
new.
add the 4570. Yeah.
I
Honestly,
almost
both
think
would
they
be
will.
cool, but the 4570 has a few variants you could run for
Well,
guns. Like
and
a
that's
few
what I was
gun
gonna say.
options you could run.
I almost think they will because I think they're going to add a few lever actions, like because you've seen them show a few off. I think at
Right.
least two that I've seen in actual pictures.
Yeah, I think we've seen
So,
two. Yeah.
Yeah, so it would make more sense for them to add, 4570
couple
rounds
with-
that both could take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Another thing I want to show, it's just cool as shit. I don't know how we get it. I don't know when it's coming. I don't know anything about it. It was just shown. Actually, that's not true. I know exactly where we get it. It is one of the new prestige rewards.
Yeah, it's prestige.
I
reward.
believe prestige is going to go 3, 4, 5 now. Like you can go all the way up to prestige 5, maybe
I
even
think so,
further.
yeah.
I don't know. But here's one of the prestige rewards that they shown. The the Lewis pylon.
yeah.
Yeah, so these are
Почему
new
Луис
prestige rewards
Пилон
you can
is
get.
also really Louis Vuitton?
Louis pylon.
Disconnection.
Yeah, basically a Louis
Disconnection
Vuitton gamma,
in the
Yeah, so
departments.
that's cool. Pretty
Помнишь?
cool.
Даже есть Луи Питон.
Louis Vuitton.
Они назвали его Луис Пилон.
Подделка.
Это подделька.
Which, like I said, I feel like
Yeah.
skins are like really the future of EOT. We're going to see so many
Right,
items
that's-
being
yeah.
skinned. That's kind of going to be like just the future of Tarkov.
Here's a look at the next few dog tags that you're going to unlock as you prestige.
Yeah, this is
4, 5.
Yep, 3, 4, and 5.
tags.
So there's that. And then so we did get a few other things, right? Like we got a AK-50 reveal. Do we want to show that?
I mean, yeah, we can throw it up. It
I'll-
was just some animations of it. If Middle wants to get
Yeah.
the trouble, or you can, I guess, since you already have it. Yeah, it just shows there were new animations for a lot of guns, including
Yeah, the AK finally got updated animation.
Yeah, the AK and the M4 got new animations because those were two of the first guns done. So they just went and updated them.
Yeah. Here's the AK-50 firing. Pretty fucking gnarly.
Right.
Very gnarly.
And for all the people afraid of the AK-50 coming game, as you can see, this is going to be a chunky weapon. This is not something that you can
It's
wield
chunky.
around like a normal AK. This
it's
is
slow.
basically
it seems to jam
a
pretty frequently.
yeah. This is a big ass sniper rifle in an AK body, is what this is. So don't think it's something people are going to be running around full autoing. Like it's
Right.
it's limited. It's very limited in its use case scenario. Now, if you get hit with it, yeah, you're gonna die. But,
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, it's the same as getting hit with the 338 though, right?
Yeah,
Nothing new
pretty
there.
much. Right.
I guess we could look at the Okay, one more thing before we look at any other footage. We do have the terminal reveal, which is pretty cool. We'll
Yeah,
definitely look at
yeah,
that.
it's a cool
But
little video.
PvE Prestige, that was a flat out no, right? Or yes
Nikita,
and no, right? It was. It's you
it
can
was a
tell he's on the
flat out.
fence.
It was a flat out no, as in include PVE on
The
the
current
prestige
PvP
system.
Prestige, yeah,
Yeah, include PVE on this prestige system that you already got and that you're showing and that you're updating. Nikita said no. That is for PvP only. Everything they've done is a PvP reward. It's only going to stay that way. They're not going to change that. Nikita did say though, maybe later on, after a while, they might implement something that's similar for PVE, but not the exact same thing.
yeah. A form of Prestige for
Yeah,
PvE, but probably nowhere near as cool.
right.
Nowhere near as many options. Nowhere near as many rewards. Maybe just new dog tags that let you just kind of like run through and do
Yeah,
the
maybe
Prestige thing.
a couple things that it shows. Hey, you prestiged. If you really wanted to, you did it. Good job. And that's
Yeah.
probably it. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe
it's
like
not
some
going to be
hideout
rewards.
customization stuff, right?
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
not going to be
nothing.
rewards as good as what PvP gets.
Yeah. Speaking on PvP, that is something that I've been kind of weighing, I guess, is PvE versus PvP. And while I know at 1.0 both are going to wipe, what do I want to play? Right? Because I have been thoroughly and genuinely enjoying PvE, but it's always felt like something's missing. And granted, when they add the new missions and all that, it might be a new incentive to just grind out PvE. But and I think what I've kind of leaned towards is do PvE to get all the missions done, complete the entire storyline, escape from Tarkov, and still play PvP for that missing action, that player versus player fighting, those crazy interactions, and those just wild situations you end up in. You get pinched by two different teams, and you gotta let them fight, and then you get in the middle of there's all these different interactions and different things that happen. And I have been just really racking my brain about what I want to do, and it kind of hit me with the Tarkov TV and the terminal reveal. I can do both,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah. You don't have to stick with one.
Yeah. So using PvE to experience the story is cool because then you can focus PvP for just fun and fights, right?
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's interesting because on PvP within a wipe cycle, and that's the other thing. I don't know if the wipe cycle is going to change drastically once 1.0 is out. Are they going to go to a yearly wipe? Are they just not going to wipe until it's necessary? Who knows? But on PvP, it always feels like you're in this crunch to try to get as
right,
much done as possible in a short amount of time. You kind of have to pick and choose like what route you want to go towards, what task lines to finish. Where PvE, it's you choose what you want to do and you go do it. You don't have any of those players sniping you out of nowhere, dying over and over and over and over and over and over, right? Fighting for quest items and this, that, and the other. It's been bothering me. It's been weighing on me for a while because I love PvE, right? It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's a nice
yeah,
casual Tarkov experience.
yeah,
But with the missing action from PvP, it's kind of like PvE gets stale to a point because everything kind of always in the same spot, right?
right,
PMCs are always in certain areas, scavs are always in certain areas. Like, sure, sometimes things are out of place, but not too often. There's not much randomness to it. But when they showed Terminal, it kind of made me realize if I strictly go PvP, I might never make it to Terminal in a wipe cycle
that's true.
because you're going to have to progress so far to be able to get to Terminal. So it kind of forces me. I mean, I guess if you specifically look at it like, oh well, I'm going to specifically try to get to Terminal. That's my goal. That's what I want to do. That's where I want to go. I guess you could just focus that quest line out, but I would imagine that you're gonna have to like reach Kappa, do a certain few things, hit Lightkeeper,
Right, right,
and that's not entirely easy on PvP. So it's almost like if I want to experience the entirety of the story, I have to play PvE. But I guess that all boils down to as well, like what are they going to actually do at 1.0 for wipes? Are PvP cycles going to last longer? Is it going to give more players more time to try to like kind of experience that? Or is PvP still going to be on a relatively short wipe cycle where it makes more sense to just do the PvE thing.
Well, I've thought exactly about the things you're talking about. I've done it several times, because I miss the PvP action of old Tarkov. That was all I played. But I also love PvE.
Right.
But here's the thing I came up with. The reason that PvP would get so frustrating and sometimes it felt like you would just slow down and like not progress hardly at all, it was because of the way we played. It was because we played trying to survive above all else.
Right.
We put our player statistically above getting things done. If you reverse that and you just go try to get things done, you can get shit done quick. Like, you can get shit done in no time.
Yeah,
If you don't give
yeah,
a
that's
fuck
fair.
about your survival rate, like, dude, you get unlimited chances. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
just have to not
yeah.
care. Like, that's
Right.
the difference. And that's what I've come to realize, especially playing hardcore on PvE. I'm like, wait a minute. That's what I need to do on PvP. I need to play hardcore on PvP. Because
and
then
just
I'm going to
not care.
lose the care about trying to survive and have good stats. And I'm just going to go
Right.
with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like
Yeah.
that's the other good thing about having two accounts. Now you can play PvP on one account and PvE on the other account. And it's like, you can just experiment with, what you want to do. And I feel like I'm just
Well,
to
one
that
of your
point,
accounts
it's like,
can be on PvP, focusing on just survival rate, KD,
yeah, that's what I mean.
longevity
That's
of
what I mean.
wipe
Yeah.
or survival, right? And then
That's what I
the
meant.
other
Play
one you
one
can
like
just
you normally would, and the other one like
both on
experiment.
PvP. Okay,
Yeah, I
yeah.
said it back.
And then
I
the
said
other
it
one you can
wrong.
just run in and
but
just
I
fuck
meant,
off, do whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's true. I didn't think about that side of it either. Is I do have access to two accounts that I can go on and just do different play styles on and have fun and do whatever.
Well, because I've always known that if you try to remain, top end player statistically, like we always have, like 70 plus survival rate, 10 plus KD, like the reason that shit slows down is because we focus on that more than the actual game, and that slows you down. It does.
It does. It
slows
does slow you down, especially as you
You-
get further along and your stats get higher and higher. You're less likely to push into those situations that you could die in.
Well, and not to throw shade on anybody, but I've watched several bad players get Kappa, get Lightkeeper, players that don't have good
Prestige.
stats. Yeah, players that
Yeah,
aren't
yeah.
great at the game. They do not survive hardly at all. They never win gunfights. Like, you don't have to do any of that to progress, like, because you just retry.
Right.
And it
That's
does
true.
get frustrating. It does.
I was gonna say dying a bunch is also not an enjoyable way to play the game
It's not.
either.
It's not. For me,
That's-
it's not. Some people don't care.
Right.
I just got to get in the mindset of not caring, and it seems like
I
the best way
guess,
for me to
yeah.
do that is put myself in like a hardcore scenario.
Treat it like it's
Good-
hardcore. Yeah.
Yeah, because then I'm not buying the best stuff and worried about
Right.
losing this and that. I'm just using what
The
I
parts
got.
on your gun or what you got. Yeah. Like you
R-
just get by with
right.
what that you got and you go.
Right. It's almost like I got to trick myself because that competitive edge inside me does not want me to die. But it's like, if I trick myself into thinking you got no choice, then you know what I mean. I lose
Right.
that that I don't know what you would call it. I lose that.
I hate calling it gear fear
Worry
because it's
of-
not gear fear. I don't
Yeah, it's
care
not
to
gear
lose the
fear.
gear.
No, it's not
I
gear
don't
fear.
want
And
my
it's really not
stats to be
statistics.
fucking hurt.
It's really not statistic fear because it's like we've done it so many times. We know our stats can be great when we focus on it.
Right.
So it's like I don't know what it is.
Maybe
I
that's
don't know if it's like
maybe that's part of it. We need to just tell ourselves like it doesn't matter. Wipe
I've
after
done
wipe
that,
after
though.
wipe of high
Like, I've done
stats.
that
It
so many
doesn't
times.
matter.
and but it's like that's just the way it is with Tarkov. And it's like the reason PvE is so popular is because there's thousands of people
Who care about
who-
their stats that want
Right. Well, not even that, but just thousands of people who just they felt the same way. They were kind of burnt out on PvP for whatever reason, and it makes sense. PvP has been out for 8 years. PvE has been out a year. So a lot of people are going to gravitate to the newer thing and eventually bounce back to the PvP. PvP is the real Tarkov. It always will be. Like, that is the real.
experience.
That's
Yeah.
the real Tarkov experience. And I feel like I'll always go back to that. Like, there's just part of me that can't focus on it right now. Like right now, I'm having enough fun where I'm at, but I'll definitely go back to PvP when the wipe hits. I always do.
I was gonna say, once wipe happens, I know for a fact I'll be on
Yeah,
PvP.
yeah.
And you did make a good point. The hardcore accounts have made it very easy to just not give a shit.
Yeah, 100%.
And two sides of that. One, you don't care because it doesn't matter. When you die, you lose everything anyways. You're not getting a single thing back. But also, it also helps realize it doesn't really matter what gear you have. It's more about how you run the raid. It's more about how you
Right.
go and interact in situations,
Yeah.
and react to situations. So I think when I do start a PvP wipe this go around, I think I will have a little bit different playstyle in mind. Obviously, I don't think I'll ever be able to stop caring about stats,
No,
but I
that's
think
just
I can
naturally
shrink
built
that down
into.
to be like, I want to stay above a 50% survival rate and I want to stay above a 2 KD or so, you know what I mean? Something small that I can easily
Right.
achieve. That way, if I die a bunch, I'm not like, ooh, there goes that 12 KD or whatever, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. At the end of the wipe, no one gives a fuck what your stats are. You
No,
know what I
not at
mean?
all.
Nobody.
You're the only one that cares, right? You
Right.
look at it, you take a screenshot, and you wipe your account, and you move on to the next day, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Dude, my best wipe ever, I was 82 survival. This was, I think, 2 wipes ago. I was 82 survival rate, 82%, which still blows my mind. I don't
yeah,
know
that's
how I
crazy.
survived 82% of my raids, but I was 82 survival rate with like I don't even know, somewhere between like 15 and 18 KD, somewhere between there.
I think it was around a 16 something.
Yeah, you know what? Nobody gives a fuck.
No.
I was so hyped for that, but you know what? It did not matter at all.
And
No
how
one
long did you
cared.
stop until you just didn't give a
I
shit, right?
took a picture of it and forgot about it.
Yeah, like it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, you
Um,
know what I mean? It's
but
like,
I think with Terminal being introduced to incentivize a reason to push for the end game and like have something to be surprised with and see and like not like it's a tangible thing. Like you can go to Terminal. You've made the progress. You've done the thing. You're at Terminal.
yeah,
Like that's
yeah, you can escape
I
Tarkov.
think yeah, like that's a big incentive, PvE or PvP, to push. So I don't think it'll be much of an issue, but it has been something that's on my mind, and I have a feeling that a lot of players are kind of racking on this right now. Maybe not. Maybe the PvE guys are just like, I'm staying here. Like this is what I like. But for us,
No,
like
I say a
you
lot of
and I
people
both
are.
had
I'd say a lot of people are.
thousands of hours in the game before
Yeah.
PvE, so like we know how good and how fun of an experience Tarkov PvP can be. Um, but like you said, PvE is new. It's exciting. It's fun. It's entertaining. It's
Well,
casual.
yeah, and it just also it let us play Tarkov in a way that we hadn't really played it before because
That's
we
true.
got to just do whatever we wanted, and Tarkov
Yeah.
normally does not let you do that. Like normally, you can't just go do what you want.
Yeah, you can't just run, jump, shoot, scream, make voice
Yeah,
lines everywhere across the map, fucking shooting
yeah.
everything you see and playing in whatever
Um,
play style you want.
but it's also a thing like the PvP is like when 1.0 hits, Tarkov is going to be in such a better place, just like quality of life wise. Like it's going to make
Yeah.
playing PvP a lot easier just because of all the new stuff, all the nice things that have been implemented, because
Right.
a lot of these fixes have been for PvE type situations, and us on PvE haven't really seen the benefit of some of the stuff they've done as of late. Like a lot of the stuff is making the game better. So in the end, we'll get to come back to a better version of Tarkov that
Yeah.
hopefully will not, get boring or frustrating as quickly as it had before. And like I
Well, I
said,
think
you
here's
got
another
you got
side
to
of
look
that
at
too is
how long each have been out. You know what I mean? Like it
right.
only makes sense to get tired of playing PvP after so long and switch over to
Right.
PvE for
Switch
a
over to
year or
PvE.
two, and then
Yeah.
get the urge to go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it is natural.
Yeah.
And another side of that with PvP and just the ease of going back into it because of all the new features and updates and things is with the idea that when you die, you can just so much quicker to re-kit up now, right? Like you
Yeah.
have presets, you can auto buy your currencies for whatever you need. They've just done a lot of things to just make it a
So
little bit
much stuff.
easier to
Yeah.
get back in raid faster.
Absolutely.
But that's just a thought that's been on my mind. We'll go ahead and look at the terminal reveal.
But no, I
We'll
get
play
it.
that
I've been there
now.
too. I've been struggling with it at times where I couldn't decide what to do because I have that side of me that wants PvP, and then I'm also having so much fun with PvE, and it's
Yeah,
like,
PvE is fun. There's nothing wrong with PvE. I
yeah,
don't want viewers to think that we're like, oh, PvE is dried up. It's not. It's Tarkov, right? It is Tarkov.
Yeah, it's still Tarkov. It's still
Um,
fun. There's a reason we played the shit out of it.
Yeah, there's just interactions and certain things about PvP that hit home with us because of how long we played before. And the fact that PvP is well made, it's well done, and it
Yeah,
flows really well. It feels
yeah.
like the right natural way to play Tarkov to us at least to me, because of the player interactions.
But
So
and that's
it's
the other
just kind
thing
of hard
though.
to not think
You don't
to
have
want to
to.
go back to it.
Yeah, you don't have to play either one. That's the
Yeah,
good thing about
right.
having both. You get the choice. Whatever you enjoy playing, play it. If you
Like,
don't want to
do
play
you think?
against other people, you don't have to. It's
Yeah.
just it's nice to have both options.
All right. Here is the terminal
The
reveal.
last location is just a video showing.
I love the
location.
sounds.
Yeah.
The atmospheric sound sounds great.
Yeah, the ambience and the atmosphere is just fucking spot on. Everything feels so good. It looks so good too. Holy
It
shit.
does. It does.
One more clip.
And
then we have the terminal. Well, I think Nikita had said last mission area. Not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. But
a
here's
couple
this.
of pictures from the cutscenes of the
Oh, cutscenes. That's what it was.
latest mission.
Yeah, he said cutscenes. Yeah.
Latest mission. Cutscenes from the latest mission. Okay.
Yeah.
That's only two of it.
Это как в рейде, да?
But here's another look at just more terminal stuff.
So-
now I did notice with terminal in some of the outside areas, especially like the shipping container areas, there's a lot of stairs. There's a lot of verticality to it. Are we actually going to be able to go all the way up those, or is it going to be like interchange and it's just superficial? Like
I don't
there's
know.
a lot to unpack in those few still images, or I guess camera frames. A lot of questions, a lot to unpack, a lot of really cool visuals. But it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing
Get
people have
back
asked
to it in
for
the
a
video,
long
and I'll
time.
pause it.
People have asked
So
for
here,
ladders.
yeah. So here we have like stairwells that do not look impeded, mind you. I don't see anything blocking any of these stairwells off. Maybe up towards the top there might be something there, but I think that might be just another piece of the lifts. But you go up halfway, there's a building, you go up all the way, there's more rails and buildings up top. I mean, there's a semi-container, there's railways all the way in the very top of the right side. You come back down, there's just a lot of verticality involved here. There's stairs right over here that lead on top of some shipping containers. Looks like there's different things that back in the background with different rails and ladders and stuff. Yeah, it's just, are we going to be able to climb on all this? Is this all accessible for us? Or are we going to have to deal with like sniper scavs up there and, this, that, and the other? But with the buildings added in, it really makes me kind of think like, I think this might be accessible.
I feel like verticality is something that they have to eventually add. If it's not in this, it's got to be something that they work on, because there's just so many cool areas that they've built in this game that we don't have access to because of that.
Yeah.
But I also understand, like, a lot of those places just aren't set up for that type of stuff, because when people hack the
Right.
game and they jump like into those areas, like the floors
just
won't
nothing.
work, or
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
invisible stairs, and so it's probably stuff
Walls
they'd
and-
have to
yeah.
work on.
I
But
mean,
I feel
well,
like
and
they almost have to.
obviously they can't just like cut the map off at what, you can't go any higher than this. This is it. And then just put like some fake barrier there.
Right.
Visually, it looks bad. It doesn't work because it's an open world map. Specifically for the map itself, like it's not open world, but you can see everything, and everything that you can see is functional to a degree. So they couldn't just put fake barriers and shit up; it would just look bad. Well, harsh barriers. They couldn't just put like a stop point and then here's this.
Right.
What they've done is create it on the exterior to be functional and done. And then it's just not accessible for whatever reason. But with there's so much verticality on these images in this map that it's hard to not think they would let us up there. But again, I mean, I could be
Well, just to throw this
There
out
may
there,
not be a way to actually get up there and climb the stairs, you know? Like, it's entirely
they
possible
might,
that it's not
yeah, they
accessible.
might not. And I feel like the reason they've always stopped us from going to really high areas, it's probably something to do with balance, because if you get one
Right.
person that gets way up on an area, you can pretty much take out the whole map. Like,
Yeah, you
you
can
can
hold
take
it down
out
really easily.
all the scavs in front of it. You could kill bosses. Like, so it kind of messes with the flow, and that might be something that they just never allow because it makes it too
Right.
easy. You know what I mean? Like, if you
Yeah,
have
your
height
line
on
of sight is
everybody,
far greater than
yeah,
everybody else's.
yeah,
Your
and
angle
you
of
can,
attack is cleaner than everybody else's. Like,
well, and you know how Tarkov is. It's like if you're getting shot from that far away, you're probably not even going to really hear it. You know what I mean? You're just going to be getting
right,
hit.
getting
So
hit.
like,
Yeah,
it's just, that would be such an advantage.
it would. I can see why they don't do it. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Just the way the layout was and the way that the map, like, or the way that the stairwells and everything looked, I didn't see anything like in a lot of the times they'll have like a barrier in the way or a couple little things blocking your view and this, that, and the other. But for the most part, it's pretty obvious that you can't climb things.
right.
Um, and again, it is completely understandable. It was just a question I was
Yeah.
wondering about because the way it looked, you couldn't really tell for sure. But
Well,
yeah, that
there's
is
always been such cool areas as far as like some of the verticality they put in their games. Like, I've always wanted to be able to climb it, and they have ladders in certain spots, and it's like, damn it, like you put a ladder there, but you just won't let me climb it, and it's frustrating. But from a game standpoint, I kind of understand it.
yeah, it's completely understandable. But I agree. There's so many places that I would love to just be able to climb up and just explore and just
Hmm.
see the angles on and stuff. And to be fair, or to be honest, I was kind of surprised to see that the customs rework added so much verticality. I expected some height advantage, but not 3 stories worth because you get a
Right?
good view up there. Like you can
Yeah, they
see.
did. They did add some nice stuff.
That's everything I have to add. I can't think of anything else. Is there anything you want to touch on?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, there's definitely more stuff out there.
I feel like that was
But
the most important
it
stuff at the
was.
moment,
That
at
was
least.
majority of it. I mean, if you really want to find stuff, yeah, there are little things here and there, but yeah, that's good. It's an exciting time in Tarkov, so there's always more. You know what I mean? Especially with
Yeah, always.
all the ways to get information now with Tarkov
Yeah,
community and all that. But yeah, that's a highlight of pretty much all the important shit.
yeah, and I'm sure as things progress and we learn more about some of those statements made and stuff, it'll become more important or more pressing news. And that's the beauty of doing this every week. We'll
Right.
we'll keep you up to
And
date with what we find most important and most exciting and cool. And
we can see we got a lot of updates coming. You know what I mean? This shit's coming
yeah,
fast, so
yeah, 1.0 is right around the corner. And they are optimizing, patching, and updating as much as they can before that. So it's exciting to see. Like you said a second ago, it's a great time for Tarkov.
it is. It is. It really is.
But if that's everything, I'll go ahead and end here.
Yep.
All
That's
right.
good.
Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with all of our content. Be sure to like and comment below what you're most excited for with 1.0 right around the corner. We'll catch you later. See ya.